Hello, dear sports family, and welcome back to episode 2. Today we have on Bri Johnston. Bri was a Baylor volleyball player from 2018 to 21, where she helped lead the Bears to their first ever NCAA Final Four appearance. Bri served as team captain and also had 2 additional NCAA Sweet 16 appearances. In this episode, we talk about Bri's journey to Texas and her impact on Baylor volleyball, which led her to stay in Texas after college to pursue coaching. I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I did, and make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Enjoy! Bri, thanks so much for coming on my podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It is such a joy to be here.
I'm excited. I feel like we lived together when I was kind of talking about getting this started.
This is your dream.
Yes, I think I remember walking in one day and I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to start a podcast. What do we call it? And so like you and AJ were like spinning off names, and it's just, I was like, okay, so you know me, and I'm excited you're here. So.
From the very start. It's so fun. I got to see you come into Baylor and just like your whole process of being at Baylor, and just it's been really, really cool to see. And now what you're doing with sports alone and just like really finding your path in your career is awesome.
Oh, thanks. Well, I love you, and I'm excited to have you. So we'll just talk about, how did you start playing volleyball? Because I don't think I even know the answer, honestly, to a lot of these questions. I know we lived together, but
I know. I feel like it's something that you don't really talk about in the moment. You're just like, okay, we're all here. Like, you're just in grind mode for so long that you just, I mean, it comes up eventually, but it's actually a really cool story because I don't think a lot of people know this. But so I'm the youngest of 3, and I have 2 older brothers. Yes. And, you know, a lot of people at Baylor grew up in Texas. A lot of people on the team were from Texas, and so just the club scene was so different, and just even like men's sports was different. So in California, volleyball for boys is pretty popular. Yeah. And so in Texas, it's like so rare. I think it's like on the up and coming a little bit more now in the big cities, but in Texas, it just like was not a thing. And so, like, I think if you were a dude playing volleyball, you were kind of like, why aren't you playing football? Right? That's a little weird. So in California, it was so different. Like, people were playing, you know, beach volleyball, and, you know, they were either playing basketball and volleyball, or like it was always a combo sport. Yeah. So my brothers played. Okay. And like, I just grew up in the gym, and because, so my mom, her godson was actually, what was he? He was like NCAA Player of the Year at Long Beach State.
Okay, I feel like I kind of remember this.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's probably vague for you because this. Yeah, I was really, really young when he was playing college. So we grew up going to his games at Long Beach State.
Which is so iconic.
Yeah, and Long Beach State for volleyball back in like the 90s to like early 2000s, I felt like was like that was the place to be if you wanted to play volleyball. You know, like Misty May. Yes. Like everyone went to Long Beach State. Yes. So anyway, my mom's best friend, she was a teacher. Her son like grew up playing volleyball. So he went to Long Beach State. You know, he played against Matt Anderson. He was the co-player of the year his senior year with Matt Anderson, who is now like a longtime veteran for USA Volleyball. Mm-hmm. And so they're best friends, and I grew up around them. Wow. So, I mean, I was like this probably like 8 to 10-year-old little girl just like watching these massive men just jump and play volleyball, and it was so fun. And so he went on to play a professional career. His name was Paul Lottman. So he played professionally, he was overseas, and then he made the USA roster. And my mom was so close that she went to the Olympics in 2012 when he was on the Olympic roster. Wow. So I think it was like my 12th birthday, I'm not going to lie, because it was in July. And so my mom was in London for my 12th birthday, and she was so sad about missing it, but I was like, Mom, go. Yeah. So she was actually there. She was in London with him. She got to be at the Olympics there, and I mean, she just like loved it. She was so thankful to be there. But that's kind of like how I got, like, our family got into volleyball. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So my brothers grew up playing because of Paul. So they played club. They started playing club. They played high school. So I grew up playing soccer. And that was like, yeah, that was like my sport. That was my main sport.
No way.
Playing soccer, which people would look at my height and be like, are you a basketball player?
What are you doing?
No, I play soccer. So I got more into volleyball. I think it was just that spirit in me that was like, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
But I was just in the gym so much with my brothers that it just kind of like went there.
And you kind of want to be like them to some extent, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I looked up to them. I looked up to Paul and his Olympic career, and I was like, that is so cool. And I ended up giving in and playing volleyball. So played club from like early junior highs when I really started. So junior high to high school, which I feel like a lot of people in Texas started a lot earlier.
Oh, I started at 8.
Yeah, literally.
Like that's the only sport I've ever played.
Yes, and so it was definitely like kind of a later upbringing, but it was definitely in the family. It was just prolonged. Like I grew up watching it. I knew the basics of it, but I was that girl on the court that was like trying to kick the ball with my feet when I first started playing. Yeah, but then went to high school, and then I kind of you know, I had some coaches that were pushing me towards like the USA pipeline, and it's a lot different now. Now it's like the NDTP program. Yeah. But before, I can't remember what it was called. I was trying to remember. I don't remember.
I think it was like the USA. Is it VT?
I'm not sure.
Because I remember like they would pair their tryouts with like big qualifiers, and so it was like the night before you would go to the USA tryout, and then you would have this big qualifier. And so I just remember, like, I'll never forget Skylar Fields. We played at the same club growing up, Houston Juniors, and so we like all the Houston Juniors girls.
Yeah, they would
like
all go
warm up together at the USA and she's like, I want you to set me, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to Texas. Like I'm going to make the USA team because of Skylar Fields, you know, like things like that.
No, that's really what it was. And honestly, like in the town that I grew up in, even though California was big, I didn't grow up in like you know, like the big clubs like Wave and like Sunshine at the time and T Street. Like I wasn't really near those places, and so I would say I was at a smaller club. But when I went to that tryout, you were playing with girls. Like Catherine Plummer was my setter at the USA tryout. And so I was like, wow, you know, things are a lot different when you have a good setter. Like you can actually like be a good hitter. So I kind of got into that, and then played that summer with like the program. I didn't make the team that traveled, but like was in the training program, and so that kind of like really sparked a interest in my mind of like, okay, I think I can play at the next level. And so finished out, you know, high school, and was kind of late in the recruiting game because like I said, small club, it wasn't really big. They didn't have like a recruiting director like a lot of clubs do now. And so it was kind of a slow process for me. Like I pretty much did everything on my own. Like sent out emails and like literally just everything. And so I really wanted to go to Long Beach State because of Paul, and both my parents had actually gone there as well. And so like schools just were not panning out. I think like at that time they already had their rosters full, and it was just different. But you know, my parents had gone through a divorce at the time. So one, I didn't want to be in California. And two, I just was like, I think I just want to go and experience something different. And so I started looking at schools in Texas for some reason. Like I was emailing A&M, emailing Baylor. And I think because of Paul, one of the assistants at the time was like, ran into my mom at a tournament. And he was like, wait, you have a daughter that plays? And she was like, yeah, she's over there on that court. And then I started getting recruited by Baylor. But there was a coaching change kind of at that time. I think Coach Mack had just came in. And then the recruiting coordinator at the time, Sam, had gotten promoted. And so she had taken over recruiting. And they were still looking to fill some roster spots. So honestly, the Lord really orchestrated it in such a beautiful way that I had no idea of at the time. But I just had such a deep desire to be in Texas for some reason. And like, I remember my parents sitting me down and being like, you know, Baylor's a Christian school, right? Like, you probably have to go to some Bible classes. And I was like, I don't really know what that means, but I want to go play volleyball. There.
They have volleyball. I'm going.
So that's how I ended up at Baylor. And that's kind of how volleyball like really took flight in my life.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Because I think for some reason Baylor has a really big pull from California. Like there's a big alumni base
there is
in California. I mean, my dad's from Texas, but then went out to California for high school, and kind of same thing, like immediately wanted to come back. So I didn't, that's crazy. And did Paul play beach as well? Because I feel like I remember watching him on the TV with you.
His indoor career So he only went to the one Olympics in 2012, and then I think he didn't make the next roster in 2016. So when he decided to retire, he played a lot overseas too. So he was in like Poland for a long time, and he did really well. But he transitioned to playing beach. So he was in the AVP league.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, so he was doing all the AVP tours and stuff like that, and he still is currently playing. But this past Olympics with Miles Partain was his coach in the Olympics.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's kind of like been all over in the volleyball realm and just done a lot with it. So it's always been part of our lives because of him, really.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you come to Baylor, come to Texas, freshman year, Bri. Talk about freshman year, and then we'll get to 2019.
Yeah, so I want to say, 2018 was when I got to Baylor in the spring, and it was, I feel like for many people in volleyball, like a pretty rude awakening.
Right, yeah.
The speed of the game is so different.
So different.
It's absolutely different, and I think like as a freshman, it's so overwhelming, but that's why it's so important to have girls on the team that are not only willing to help you, but also like they want the team to be successful. Yeah. So it's not out of a place of like, I would say resentment. Like a lot of the times when freshmen come in, it's either they think they're going to take someone's spots or someone else is thinking like, oh, they're going to take my spot. Yeah. And so Baylor just wasn't like that. The culture was not like that. Everybody wanted each other to thrive. And it was more like, hey, if you beat me out, I still love you.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard at first because I want to say, I remember a practice where I don't think I could get a serve over the net. Which, is funny because I ended up being a serving specialist.
Yep.
So it was so different. And being a freshman was just a once in a lifetime experience because I felt like I hit my lowest lows and my highest highs at the same point. Yeah. Like it honestly felt like relearning the game because not only are you learning a different speed, you're also learning a different system and you're trying to adjust to a different coaching style.
Yeah.
And coming from California, it was very different than how Texas volleyball was really coached at the time because a lot of beach influence comes to indoor.
Yeah.
And Texas is just like all indoor.
Yes.
But it was a lot better because Coach Mack was from California. And so he kind of understood that language barrier at first for me. So he really helped me kind of think in a different way. And I came in as an outside. I was recruited as an outside, which at the time, Yassiana Presley was just announced National Freshman of the Year, her freshman season. So, and then Ania Philo at the time, also an All-American, were both on the team. So here's little freshman Bri, a walk-on, being like, oh, I think I might have a chance.
I'm here. Oh, yeah.
It definitely was not like that. But it was just such a season of growth for sure that first spring. And then the summer was just, I think that's really, the summers, you can attest this too, is where your discipline is tested.
Oh, for sure.
For sure as an athlete because you have the freedom on how much you grow during that time. And I wouldn't say I necessarily took advantage of that because you're also a freshman in college. And then, the football players start to come in, the baseball team comes in, the soccer team comes in, and you're just like, I want to make friends.
Yeah. Let's all go to the pool together.
Yeah. You're not thinking about going to the gym for 3 hours in the summer and just hitting a ton of balls. Like you just want to.
As a freshman, no.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how it was. But then going into that first season, I think I was just like on such a high of like, okay, I don't really care if I play. This is just such a fun experience. And then I remember going in for the first time and I was like, what is going on?
The pool did not help me so much now.
No, it did not. And I just honestly, I wish I could go back and ask Coach Mack, like, what did you see in me at that point? Because I had just gone through that spring where I couldn't get a serve over the net. Fall camp was kind of like, okay, things are starting to click, but like it's too late in the game. Like this season is gonna be a learning season for me, and I'm just gonna really be a great teammate. And then our game against Wisconsin came around my freshman season in preseason, and I think we were down like 2-0, and we were also down by like 7 points at that time. And out of all the people, Coach Matt goes, hey, go serve for Yassi.
So classic of him to do, by the way. Like,
absolutely.
Standing on that sideline, everyone's like, I'm like, no. Yeah, every moment you're standing there thinking, I could go in at this point. I could go. You have to
and
have that mindset.
People don't understand that.
No, it's exhausting. Don't understand that. Standing there for however many
3
points.
hours.
In a 5-set match of like, okay, I can go in next. Okay, I'm going to go in next. Yeah. And like you have to like play this game of, okay, I'm ready to serve and stay warm. I mean, it's 3 hours. You're freezing cold. Yeah.
I want to say this is probably not true, but if anyone is seeing this, I feel like my class started the trend of like it's okay to wear a jacket on the sideline.
Absolutely, because you need
it. You need it. You really do. You need a jacket on sideline. Like if you're gonna go in, you have to stay warm.
Oh yeah. No, I mean we like. I can't think of what they're called right now, but the little packs that have like the.
The like hyper.
Yes. Like that was always a fight. So like I would take a knee one and put it on my back, or like put it on my arm, just so it would be some type of warm before I had to go in and serve. Yeah, all the things. But you're saying like going in Wisconsin and
so that was, I mean, just typical little freshman Bri, like just happy to be there, trying to be a good teammate. Like we're down 2 sets, we're down by 7 points, like about to get swept. I'm just on the sideline, like trying to be all happy-go-lucky, and then people are like, "Hey, like go," and I'm like, well, who are you talking
go where?
to? Like I'm looking behind me, I'm like, there's someone behind me, and they're like, and then I look at Coach Mack, and he's like, go in, and I'm like, oh, me.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't even think that I remember serving at all. No. I really don't. I just remember I was like praying. I literally was praying that the ball would just go over the net. I didn't care what it did, but I just wanted it to go over the net. Yeah. And again, like I think once I really surrendered, like, okay, either something really bad can happen or something really good can happen. So I'm just gonna like prepare for the worst and hope for the best here, which sounds so awful, but I mean, it really was. Like, you just had to kind of trust that you've been playing volleyball for this long and the basics are still the basics and you've trained it and you prepared for it. So you try to just fall back on that.
Yeah.
And so I remember serving and then I had to go back and serve again and it just kept going and going. Yeah. And I went on like a 7-point serving run that game. So we tied up with Wisconsin. And then just the excitement of everything.
Oh, like,
I can do this. Like, that's the confidence. Like, it felt like just a little drop of favor from the Lord of being like, you can do this.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're going to make mistakes along the way, but you can do this. So that was really what started. Like, I felt like my confidence going forward, being like, okay, all right. Because I'm pretty sure the next game after that, like, we ended up beating Wisconsin. They were ranked number 2 at the time, and we weren't even ranked. Yeah, and that kind of started, like, the whole Wisconsin-Baylor.
Yes.
I felt like we played them every season after that. Even in the Final Four, like, it was just... So, yeah, it was the very next day, we had beaten Wisconsin in 4. That was just, like, really awesome for us. And then the very next day, I think we lost to, like... some school down in South Texas that
UTRGV.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was a commit. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm watching because I committed in 17.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like Baylor just beat Wisconsin. Like that's my school. Like I'm watching.
Season,
like this is
so
awesome.
Exciting.
And then the next day lose to UTRGV. And so Coach Mack still talks about it. Like anytime we have like a big match or something, it's like, hey, you take every match as the next one. And I think just going to media day yesterday, a lot of the guys, I was like, so who are you most excited to play in the Big 12? And they're like, who's ever next? Yeah. And you truly have to have that mentality because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what other teams are going to do. But if you win, it takes care of yourself for postseason and whatever. But yeah, he likes to bring that one up of like, go and beat Wisconsin.
I heard it every time. Literally every preseason, every big game, every time we played Texas, every time we played Oklahoma, like any like big matchup, TCU, anything, it was always like, all right, just focus on the next. And then it'd be like, hey, good job. You did either you won or you lost. Most of the time it was like, okay, good, positive. But then it was like, next game.
Yeah. You have to keep that.
It's the mentality of like 0-0. Yeah. Like you're not 11-1, you're 0-0.
Yeah. So that's good. I think now just even sitting here, like we did have similar roles kind of when it came to like that serving role. Like thinking back, like I remember scrimmaging against A&M, going into serve, my first ever, didn't even count for anything. It was like an exhibition match in the spring, but like the first moment you go in to serve, I remember losing complete feeling in my entire body. And I was like,
you just go numb.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I didn't think this was going to happen to me. Like now I have to serve and I can't feel my arm and just please go in. But it was, ball goes over, I get an ace.
Yeah.
And the next day at practice, I remember Coach Mack's whole thing was like, let's go around, we all circle up at the beginning or end of practice. And so he'll always ask us a question. And he asked, what was your favorite part of the weekend? And Callie Williams, now, what's her last name?
Wilford.
I was like, not Willie, whatever. Callie Williams goes, my favorite part was seeing Faith's family in the stands cheer after she served. And so that was just, I'll never forget that, because that was so sweet of like, everyone knows that role of standing on the sideline, being so anxious, being a freshman, like trying to find your spot. Yeah. And then actually going in and doing it. Like, it is like a big vote of confidence of like, okay, I can do this and I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, that just speaks, I think that's just a testament to what the culture of Baylor volleyball was that allowed them, because that was even before the Final Four season. Or no, that was after, yours was. Yeah. But it is such a testament to the culture of Baylor volleyball because, and I'm sure it is like this at a lot of other programs, but for you to come in and not feel like someone wasn't mad that they got taken out.
Right.
You know, like someone was celebrating the joy of you getting an opportunity and then you taking that opportunity and making the best of it. Because I feel like, especially with girls in sports, I mean, dudes just like brush things off, but girls like take things personally.
Oh yeah.
And if you get taken out with someone else, it wasn't seen as a negative thing. It was like, okay, I'm not giving what I can right now, so somebody else has the opportunity to go and do that, because everyone is fully capable to do that same thing, because we're all in the same gym. We're all training the same things every single day against high-level players. I mean, you have that starting side training, but every single day in practice, that scout team is beating the starting side and challenging them because they want to win just as badly if they're on the sideline or not. So it really is a beautiful thing.
No, it is. And I think it's something you get caught up in the world of college athletics of like everyone was good in high school. And then you go to college and it's like you get severely humbled very, very quickly. So to have that culture, it helps, and it makes things fun. You can look back on those moments and think like, oh, like my teammates loved me well in that moment. So I
mean, can you imagine how miserable like practices or games would be if there were people just like climbing down each other's throats to like beat each other out, or like hoping that someone would fail so that you would get an opportunity?
Yeah, it's just gross because you are competing with each other. Like you're there to compete of, hey, there's 5 liberos or 5 DSs to play. Okay, we'll figure it out. But like those are some of my best friends, you know, like those are my girls, and so it creates a healthy competition, and it's good. But you had that success going through 2018 and then going to 2019, I think that's really what put Baylor volleyball on the map. I was a recruit at that time, so it was really fun to watch that and be like, yep, I'm going there.
That was the year before you came in, right?
2 years before. Okay, so because I came in 21, right, January of 21. Yeah. So it was right after
that spring COVID season. Yes. I was trying to think. I was like, did she come in right before that happened, or like in the middle of it?
No, I came in when they pushed postseason to the spring. So that's why I tell everyone of like, I graduated early because like I wanted to go in and adjust to the speed of the game and get comfortable. And I mean, looking back, I'm so thankful because I got to play with Yassiana Presley. Got to play with Hannah Locken. I got to play with you, Bri and AJ, and Emily for like a little bit longer. Like I got to play with those
Avery
girls.
Was there at the time
too. Got to play with them for like a whole year. So that was really cool. But no, I came in and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to pass because I was going from setter to DS. And then come in and Coach Mack's like, actually, we're training for a national championship. We need to get back to that level we were at 2019. You thought
you were gonna have a spring training, but it was a season in spring.
Oh yeah. Like I was season straight through spring to all the way through fall. It was brutal. But you were on that team 2019. Talk about, I mean, I can just I have the picture in my head of Nicole praying at the end of the Wisconsin game. Like, just talk about that experience, going to the Final Four, getting to that point of truly being the underdog in that season.
Man, I just have such great memories from that season, and not a lot of people would think, like, for what reasons. You know? So what people don't know is that season, the summer before we had that Final Four run, we went on our international trip, so which you guys had towards the end of your career.
Last season, yeah.
Yeah, so
last summer I was in Europe, not this summer.
Yeah, so. Just a slight flex that Faith was in Europe, and so I'm sure Europe was great, but our team went to Africa.
Yes, y'all went to Kenya.
Yes, which is not traditionally where a team would go for their foreign trip.
No,
because a program gets one every 4 years, right. And so.
You typically go to Europe. You go somewhere fun where you can go and play.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And so we had gone to Kenya as a team that year, and I think it was half mission work and half volleyball. So we did play some volleyball, but the mission work that we were there for, and I think that people were probably upset about that. I know that I was, honestly, because I remember like being told that you're going to have a foreign trip. It's going to be great. Like last time we went to Greece and Italy, and like we were in Florence.
Yeah.
And
it's on the recruiting video they show you.
And then we get to Kenya and we're in like a compound, like right next to an orphanage. And you're like, it's kind of funny to think about perspective wise, but we as a team got to minister to kids in Africa. Like not many people can say that in their college careers, and so that was really, really cool to be able to have those moments together. Like, you know, in Africa, the time, like time's just different. People can say like, oh, it'll take like 30 minutes to get there, and then you end up being in a bus for 7 hours. Like that literally happened to us. And
no way.
We were in small vans for 7 hours as a team. I think we were in 2 separate ones, but we were in very close quarters. And then being in the middle of Kenya, like we were all worried about, okay, we can't drink the water, like you gotta drink out of water bottles, like just all that stuff.
Oh, gosh.
I feel like those experiences really brought us together as a team. So when we got back, you know, we all had a short amount of time to like spend with our families, but then it was probably like a week, because those years are not traditional. You don't get to go home in May. Like in May we were in Africa. So when we came back, we went right into summer 1 and 2 training and camp mode, and then fall camp. Wow. So I mean, most people probably had like a week, and being from California, I didn't even go home. I was just in Texas the whole time. Because I was like, what am I gonna do, fly home for 3 days and then just come back? So I remember that summer, something had just shifted. Like the mindset had shifted, and you know, it wasn't just the fact of like being in Africa, you just see a third world country and then it makes you more grateful. Obviously that does, but it was different because we just had such a better understanding of each other, and like how we serve one another was just glorified to the max. And so going into training that summer felt like practices. I mean, they felt like traditional practices. And I also just want to say, like, the leadership that year, I mean, Baylor has always had great leaders and seniors, but for me, being younger and looking up to the older girls was like, okay, they were committed to not only having a good culture, but they were committed to having a good team. And they cared about it. Like, I remember Hannah Flegel, who Hannah Hurd now, but at the time, like, you know, I don't think she really got much playing time in her career, and especially that year. I'm not sure that she really played at all, because Hannah Sedgwick, an All-American, was above her, but they were best friends. And Hannah was in the gym from like 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. until she had to go to class in the summer, and that kind of set the standard of like, oh, Hannah's there, I need to be there, I need to be with her, I need to like train with her, I need to, you know, pass balls so that she can set and get those reps. And so that's kind of what set the foundation for that season. And I know I'm drawing this out, but
no, it's good.
So going into preseason, we had a massive schedule, and I think like that spring before, it was always talked about. You know, before we had gone on our mission trip, before we had trained in the summer, it was like, hey, you're playing Minnesota this year, you're playing Wisconsin.
You had a hefty schedule ahead of you.
I don't even remember who else. Like, I think, you know, Hawaii was coming to us, but we've had some pretty big home games, but we flew to Wisconsin and played them there.
Which is such
we
a
played
cool
Marquette that year too.
Yes, I remember that too.
Yeah, so I mean, we were gone for a while, but it was talked about all spring, like, hey, this is our schedule next year, so we got to prepare for it. And it was heavy, and I remember that spring being like kind of, again, which was right after the 2018 year, but I remember that spring being so like tense. But then going into fall camp right before preseason, it was still talked about, but it was received in a different way.
You were ready now.
Yeah, we're like, okay, that doesn't really bother us. Like, we played Wisconsin last year. We can beat them again.
Yeah,
there was that stigma. So we ended up going into preseason, and I do think Wisconsin was that first matchup for us
I think you're right.
Yeah, but
because you played them twice that year.
Yeah, we played them twice that year. Once we got them, and the last time we didn't, and they beat us when it was important. But still, I mean, we had a undefeated preseason in that season,
which that does not happen. That does not happen.
Yeah, so when that happened, it was so exciting. But I just remember Coach Mack saying, like, you have to take it a game at a time,
right?
Because of what happened last year. Like, we're 0-0. We're not 10-0 right now.
Right. Yeah.
We're not 10-0. We're going into conference. Like, we're 0-0. It's starting over. And so, I mean, they just did the whole team just did a really great job of just taking it day by day.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, of course you're like training for December and you're looking ahead.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't like you talked about it, but it wasn't like an anxious feeling. It was like, okay, we're doing really well. And there's a lot of hype around Baylor right now, but everyone thinks we're going to fail because they're like, oh, it's just a wild preseason.
It's a fluke. Yeah, 18 was a fluke.
Yeah, they had a really good lineup. They caught teams at bad times, and it wasn't. I mean, we went into the conference with that confidence and also, like, with something to prove.
Right.
So,
well, and Texas was still in the conference at the time. And so y'all beat Texas that same year, right?
We did. So it's funny you say that.
Because it was, like, the most packed...
At the Farrell,
At the Farrell. I remember being there, and now it's outside the locker room.
Yep.
It's, like, blown up on the wall, and so I can go and find myself in the crowd of, like, my dad and I, because it was a whiteout. So my dad and I are sitting there, and then AG, who was not close with her at all at that time.
Yeah,
I was
probably didn't know each other.
I didn't really know her because she had no social media, and I was like, oh, this girl's committed, like, whatever. Now we're, best friends, won't do anything without each other, but we were, like, sitting next to each other, so that was kind of fun. But that was, again, big deal to go into that season and beat Texas, closing out the conference, all that stuff.
And it's so funny you say that because we were, I don't know what our complete record was that year. I think it was maybe like 28 and something, but it was 28-2. I know that. We had 2 losses.
The
year,
two,
and I know exactly which 2 it was. So obviously the one in the Final Four when we lost in the semifinals, but the other one before that was Texas.
Yeah.
So it was in conference, and at the time, the way the Big 12 was set up was that you played everyone twice.
Home and away.
Yeah, so you played them at home and you played them away. And the schedule lined up where we played Texas away first. So that first half of conference, we went to Austin and played Texas, and we were undefeated. And so,
just playing at Texas too, another gym that is just
I mean, they do such a great job.
Oh yeah,
they create an environment where it makes people. It's tough for people to come in and play them.
Yeah,
and I think maybe like Baylor creates that rivalry too. Of like, okay, the 2 volleyball programs that are really good are playing each other. So we were undefeated at the time, and we got swept by Texas there.
Which brutal feeling.
It was tough. I've
had stuff thrown at me on that court.
I mean,
it's brutal.
I just remember like the feeling after that game. But what I will say was I felt like that was the only match that season that we really weren't surrendered to. Like we went in feeling like we had a lot to lose.
Wow, yeah.
And in reality you did because you were fighting against an undefeated season, but I mean, going and playing one of the best programs in the country, like historically, it's not easy. They've always been good, and Baylor's having a really great like couple years, and you're going into a program that is established and they know what they're doing and they've been successful, they've proven it. And so, I really felt like that was the match that we were striving for that win. Like we wanted to do something about that undefeated season, and we just were all riled up about it, and then we got completely destroyed. I mean, we really did. So I think that was just a huge like learning curve of, okay, you've played this whole season surrendered, so why now are you choosing to like make it about you?
Yeah. No,
so
that's good.
After that, it came to where Texas was coming to Waco, and we played them at home, and I felt like it was a lot different than when we went there. It wasn't about, you know, whether we won or not. It was just about honoring the program. One, obviously honoring the Lord, because it's like, okay, a lot of people, the media really was like hyping it up too.
Yeah.
I mean, they were saying like, this is the biggest matchup of the year, like potentially 2 national championship teams right here in Waco. And I mean, it was packed. I don't think I've ever seen the Farrell that packed for a volleyball game ever. Like maybe a basketball game at the time, but never. And so it was just the coolest experience that you could have as a student athlete, because in a sport like volleyball, where you have a great football team, you have a great women's and men's basketball program, like you get to be a part of those moments when you're there, but you're not in it. Yeah. And so it was really special because, you know, we didn't feel like we had anything to lose at that point. We were like, you know, we just want to make it as great as possible. We know we've trained for this, but we already have a loss under our belt, and that's okay. Like, it's not going to define the rest of our season. It could only help us. Yeah. And so I think that game, maybe a couple games before that, it was the last home game, I want to say, before the rankings came out for postseason.
Yes, because I remember like rushing to that game after school, because I was still in high school, and so like my dad picked me up and we like booked it to Waco, because like, we need to be there because last game of conference going in, right? Wasn't it last game?
I want to say it was the last home game. I'm not sure if it was, but it was somewhere around there.
It was like almost to preseason or postseason time. And so it's like, okay, we need to be there. Of course, everyone just wanted to be there because it was just cool. Yeah. But like it was a big deal of just like being in that bubble, and you're just setting such a stage for your postseason, but also like recruits, and like people are there and they're watching, and so like you just talked about that platform, like our men's and women's basketball teams were there, and so we wanted to be a part of that. Like, we're sharing a training room with them. Like, you're jealous to some extent, and I'm like, I want what you're going through, like I want that. And then I mean, Baylor won their title in 21 with the men's basketball team, but like they're preparing for that same thing. So the Farrell was like hot at that point. Like,
and we were all still in the same facility too.
We were pushing for that.
Yeah. No, so. It was so much fun. And I mean, I want to say that Texas was ranked 1 at the time, and we were ranked 2. So it was Texas and Baylor. It was literally the top 2 teams in the nation at the time. And you know, we came out on top that time, and so we're thankful for that, because it was just like, I don't want to say right timing, but it worked out. You know, like we lost it at a time where you would have wanted to lose. You know, you didn't lose right before postseason, because then postseason came around and we were the number 1 ranked team in the country.
Got to host, and it was cool. It was fun. I remember like just like seeing all the things, like posting all the graphics, and I'm like, I'm committed there, I'm going there. Like, you know, I mean, you still talk about 2019 team. Oh yeah. Even graduating in 24, not even being a part of it, but really sweet. So we were roommates and teammates, and we lived in a house with 6 other girls on 11th Street. We called it 7-Eleven. So talk about some of the friendships that you felt like you were able to build through that time. And I mean, we had to move out of there because it was falling apart, but just like
most places on Baylor's campus.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. We had rats by the time I moved out. But it's kind of like talk about 7-Eleven in that house.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember when the girls that were older than me moved in, so it was Nicole and Hannah.
Nicole O'Bannon, who was director of ops last season.
Yes, who ended up being on staff later on. But Nicole and both of the Hannahs were there, so the setter duo. Yeah. So I remember helping them move in.
That's crazy.
And I just remember walking into that house, and they lived with 2 soccer girls, I believe, at the time. Yeah. Cameron and... So, or Jody was one of them, and then another one, I think. So they lived with 2 soccer girls at the time, but I remember moving them in and literally being like, I could never live here.
Shut up.
I could never live here. Why would I ever want to live with 6 other girls?
Is so gross.
Like it's hard because I feel like I would describe myself as not being a girl's girl.
No, yeah.
But like a lot of people know me, they're like, what the heck? But I remember making a comment of like, I could not live here with 6 other girls.
People thought we were crazy.
I mean, 3 girls were sharing 1 bathroom. Yep. And it was just, I mean, it's like what you think of when you think of like a frat house.
No, it really was. It was a frat house, I think, before Nicole and them
which is why it was so run
which
down.
Was nasty. Yeah. But no, I I remember coming to Baylor and then kind of like hearing about 7-Eleven, and I was like, I have to live in this house.
Yeah, it like became a notorious house, and I hate saying this too, but like I feel like it really became like a notorious like Christian athlete house. Right. And then it kind of just like volleyball kind of took over it, because it started with volleyball, then soccer, and then we had a soccer girl living with us before you moved in. But yeah, it was just so fun. Like, when you're doing life with people that are in your same like circle, you just get each other.
It was awesome.
You can go home after a long day and all sit on the couch and just like understand.
And there was never a need to like I was in sorority, and so I feel like all these girls were like, oh, we have to like hang out, we have to do this. Like we were all on the same schedule. Yeah. So we were all at practice at the same time. Typically all were at class at the same time. Yeah. So you would kind of come home like as a family, like together. Yeah. And there was this no need to like, okay, now we have to like all go around the circle and like say our favorite thing about each other's and like hang out outside. It was like, hey, I'm gonna go do this. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Or
like you could go up in your room and be by yourself and not be bothered, but at the same time, like if you were there too long, someone would check in on you.
Yes.
Hey, you good?
Are you okay?
Yeah. But I mean, it was so helpful from a volleyball standpoint too, because those early morning workouts in the summer, you had to make sure, like if there was a car left in the parking lot, you were like, oh my gosh, someone didn't wake up. Like someone missed their alarm.
Yeah.
So I mean, for those reasons, that is like very beneficial. But it was just the camaraderie, like you said, the relationships that got to like flourish from that was just so awesome. And I would say at times like we probably did fall into a pattern of just like kind of allowing each other to complain or grumble,
right?
But then it was always corrected by like, okay, but we still like, what are we gonna do about it?
Yeah.
You know, like you're saying all this stuff and you're just letting your words be words, like turn it into action. I'm like, okay, if you were upset about this, like show up the next day and be better. And that it was always met with a challenge and like a refining sword from someone, which was awesome.
No, that's good. I think y'all's, and just for me, it was really sweet because I got to spend like the 1 year I really had with y'all. It was like squished, I feel like, into 4 because I just like, I got so much time with y'all. I feel like you're a good chunk of years older than me, whatever. But like I feel like we're so close, and so I got to learn so much from y'all, and just from like a leadership aspect. But y'all did such a good job of taking these complaints, like my freshman year, y'all senior year, we had 23 on roster. Yeah, it was lots of transfers had come in. Yeah, like trying to follow up these 2019 year, it was brutal, and so lots of different personalities. That was also Sam and Jason's last year. No one knew that, but it was their last year. And so I'm sure, you know, that was probably in the background a lot. And y'all did such a good job of like hearing a complaint. Okay, let's talk about it and attack it. Or like, this is happening. Let's move on. And so lots of different leadership styles. And I constantly remember it was first day of school and y'all were, okay, let's have like a meeting at our house. Like everyone just come over. And so we had like
all 23 girls
in the living room having breakfast before people had class at 8, and that was just so like that doesn't happen. Like that was just so sweet. And so y'all did such a good job of just creating that culture of what I feel like was started in our house but then kind of spread to the rest of the team. And so I miss 7-Eleven a lot.
Well, I appreciate you saying that though, because I feel like when people ask, like looking back, like what are some things that you can change when it comes to like how you feel like leadership wise and stuff like that. And I always go back to that senior year because I'm like, I mean, it was such an unprecedented season.
It was crazy.
We had 23 girls on roster. I mean,
that won't happen ever again.
It won't ever happen again. And it was just, I mean, we had, I want to say half the team was completely new. Freshmen and transfers.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, I mean, we had, you know, Presley came in from Cal at the time and she was just killing it. She was all conference honors, just such a stud. And she did so well at Baylor, but there was so much competition that it was just like...
There was, 5 middles?
Yeah, I think we had 5 or 6 middles at the time. And and then Avery came in, just had won a national championship at Kentucky. And so I felt like there was a lot of, like, the bar was just set so high.
You have National Player of the Year, Yassiana Presley.
Like, so you had Yassi and Avery coming in.
Hannah running the show.
Hannah being All-American. Yeah. But, you know, like, you look at all those people who were getting all those accolades, and I mean, we had 10, 11 seniors that year, wasn't it? 11?
Yeah, massive class.
Yeah. And so I mean, I think that everybody thinks like, okay, that senior year is like my year to be a leader. Right. It's like, okay, how do you navigate leading with 10 other people? I mean, it's just not heard of.
No.
So either people are going to have to step back and kind of swallow their pride, or, people are just going to have to continue to kind of duke it out.
Yeah.
And just be like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was not an easy season, but honestly, I think it was one of my favorites because I felt closest with girls that I wasn't living with.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like getting to talk with Callie.
Yeah.
Like, we would always, Coach Mack would always say, like, don't be a first responder. Be like I don't even know. Don't be
a news reporter. Go be a first responder.
Yes,
like, don't go talk about it. Go and fix it.
Yeah.
I find myself quoting Coach Mack a lot.
Oh, same. Especially then going on to coaching after that. But absolutely, like, that was like kind of the biggest thing I had learned was, he always says like servant leaders are the biggest leaders. Mm-hmm. But not being a news reporter and being a first responder was like, I mean, again, you have 23 girls. There was you would always hear something, and then there's 4 people on staff. So
yeah, they're not gonna.
How do they handle 23 girls?
And emphasis 11, on the girls.
Yeah, 11 seniors, like however many freshmen we had at that time. I think it was like maybe like 6. Mm-hmm. And so, how do you navigate all those different personalities to come together and be a unified team?
Yeah, it's just nuts.
But yeah, like being a first responder, put out fires, don't start them. And if they are started, like fires should be put out before they get to the coaches. Mm-hmm. And if they get to the coaches, then you kind of know you're in trouble at that point.
No.
Because then your leaders aren't doing what they need to do.
Yeah, they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
No, that's good. You mentioned coaching, which did you think that was on your path at all? Like when
Never.
you were, and you also dealt with a lot of injury towards the end.
Yeah.
Your senior year, I think, was probably really tough on you. It was hard on me watching you go through it. Like I had knee problems, you had knee problems. Like, it was just gross. So, did you think it was on your path at all?
Not at all. Did I think that I was going to be a coach? No, I did not want to. I didn't want anything to do with it. But, God had a different plan. Yeah. He really did, and he made it so clear, and I'm glad he did because those were answered prayers. But, and you probably don't know this either, but so it kind of started in 2019, like the injury spout for me. So 2018 was my freshman season, kind of stepped into this role of really being like a set in stone serving specialist.
Right.
Like I would go in for one of the outsides or even some middle. It would change either the outside or the middle, but I would always go in to serve, and that was constant. And so in 2019, that was like, again, you're having a great season. Mm-hmm. You're undefeated. You're serving at in Texas, like with people literally on your back. Like you're learning and processing how to like navigate those situations, but you're gaining confidence at the same time. And so right after conference had ended, we had just gotten announced as the first seed in postseason tournament. Showed up to practice the next day, and I tore a ligament in my ankle. Ugh. Yeah. So that really stunk because you go through a whole season of having so much success, and you like worked so hard to kind of lock in that spot and really prove yourself to be consistent and like be a steady presence on the court. And then, you go from a practice where it's really exciting, you're preparing for the tournament, like all the hype around Baylor volleyball being a potential national championship team. And then the next thing I know, I'm like in the doctor's office and they're saying like, hey, you're done for the season. So, and again, a lot of people probably don't know this, but I did not play that whole postseason until the Final Four.
No way. Ugh.
Yeah. So the whole time, it was just so hard for me emotionally, but at the same time, I don't feel like I ever was like, it's not gonna happen. Like I'm gonna get back. Like I was almost like more invested because I was like, I need you guys to win, so that I can get back on the court. So
this timeline we're working with,
So it was literally the day after we had our watch party at Coach Mack's house. We got announced as the first seed. We're all excited. Then I go and I mess up my ankle. I'm literally on a scooter in the like Farrell Center, just rolling around at practice, and then like for 3 hours a day just in there trying to rehab. And so thankfully and honestly, like, this really just was from the Lord. But those games that we hosted, I mean, we hosted all the way up until the Final Four.
Which is so awesome.
Yeah, and to think about that alone, though, like, if we weren't that seed, I wouldn't have even been traveling because I was injured. So I would have missed out on all those games. And I was still in the stands, but at least I got to be there. Yeah. So my family was like, you know, they had flights booked to see us play, and I was in the stands with them watching. Wow. Because
that's changed now. That doesn't...
Yeah, at the time, I think you could only have like 15 girls on the bench, but if you had like, I think we had like 18 to 19 on roster, so 3 or 4 girls had to not even sit on the bench.
Which is just like... That should just never happen. To be completely honest,
it was
you go through a whole season of these girls being on the sideline, and then now when like it actually matters, we're gonna put them in the stands.
Yeah, and it was so messed up because you had such an exciting season where those girls are practicing.
Yes,
they're just as much important to the team as the starters are because they're the ones like serving at them every day, challenging them, you know, hitting at them, and so. All those girls, you felt like it didn't even really matter. Yeah. And so praise the Lord that rule has now since changed. That's awesome. But I mean, we had girls. That was my whole like mindset though. Was like I'm going to be dressed out for the Final Four. Yeah. Like if we make it, I'm going to be there. So all the photos and videos that I always see of like Baylor winning that game to go to the Final Four. I got to see all my teammates, but I was not there. Like I was in the building, but I wasn't on the court. Like I didn't get to experience that. And I mean, it was a bummer, but I was so determined, like I'm going to play and I'm going to dress out. I'm going to do it. And so my first practice back was literally the night before our game against Wisconsin. And so I'm thankful for that. But that kind of like started that stint of like injuries just started rolling through. And then, like you said, my senior year, I was feeling some pain and really tried to work through it, but then got an MRI and, was told that I had stuff torn in my knee, and they were like, hey, you're going in at serving, like you can still do that. And so I remember having that decision that I had to make. Like, I think I missed a couple games in like a week of practice, and they gave me some time to be like, hey, either you're getting surgery now or you're done, or you can just play back row and serve and then like finish out the rest of the season and then just have surgery when you're done. Like this is your senior year. So not an easy decision, but I wanted to be a part of it. Like I just couldn't do it. So I did kind of fall more into a coach's role because I was very limited. I think I maybe dressed out for like half the practices, but
you would like maybe stand, like serve, and then she was done for the day. I was like, perfect.
I had like 10 serves, and then they were like, okay, you're done.
Bree's done.
And I remember having a conversation with Jason, who now is the head coach at TCU, but he just was like, hey, like if you serve really well, you don't even have to play defense.
You just like get an ace, you're fine.
He was like, just serve well. The ball doesn't come back over and you're good. That's so Jason. I loved that. That just kind of like took a lot of pressure off of me that I was putting on myself. Yeah. But I just really, like, I felt like the Lord allowed that to kind of bring out that coaching side in me. And so my last season, I felt like I did fall into that role of like more of the encourager and kind of like the protector of the team. Yeah. Because even though I wasn't in it, like I got to see a lot of different people, like I got to see what they were going through from an outside perspective. Like even though I wasn't in the drills and stuff, like I could watch and could tell that someone was struggling, and then go up to them and just have a conversation and be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Like why don't you like take this approach and then kind of take a step back from that. And so it was kind of cool because I got to see like success through that instead of just being on the court and being the one like hitting at people or blocking the outsides so that I could make them better. Like I had to find a way to make the team better by not playing. That's good. No, that's awesome. And so coached at DBU for, was it 2 years. I was there for 2 seasons.
Okay, with Jordan, which funny story, like Sam was our assistant, who was her sister, so that was just like a whole like tie together. So coached, and then you and Clay, your now husband, which I'm upset that I never got to meet Clay because I just like missed
while he was
like,
at Baylor.
I heard about Clay.
Yeah.
And then there was no Clay, and then Bri got married. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah,
I like missed.
Bri had a boyfriend, and then she didn't, and now she's married.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But y'all started your own company.
Yeah.
Called Aruka with Clay's dad. So kind of like go into that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, so Clay's dad, for a little bit of background, he was a strength and conditioning coach in the NFL for almost 30 years. Yeah. So, you know, he was with the Packers. He had a Super Bowl there, was with the Browns, you know. He coached at Alabama with Bear Bryant. And so he was under Bear Bryant for a while, but he started off as a strength and conditioning coach and just over the years had really just learned and gained a lot of knowledge in the area of injury prevention and rehabilitation. And so that's what he did. He actually was, I don't know if you know this, maybe you do, but he was part-time at Baylor when Coach Rule was there. So he was working on staff with Baylor while Clay was playing here. So that was really special because they got to be together. And then when Coach Rule left and got hired at Carolina, he hired Mr. Johnston as the director of player wellness.
Nice.
So he was over everything when it came to, you know, athletic trainers, PTs, anything that had to do with, you know, player injuries or rehab. Like Christian McCaffrey was a really big one in Carolina that he worked with. So he did that for a very long time, and he's very knowledgeable, and he has so much wisdom.
Just a cool guy, too. I just love talking to him.
Good old Southern guy. Like, when it comes to father-in-laws, I feel like I am really, really blessed. Yeah. Not only to have him, but to have my mother-in-law as well, just because they just have just a wealth of wisdom from being in the NFL for so many years. And then obviously Clay and I being married and then kind of like becoming an NFL wife, like just had so much wisdom to look to in that. But he started a business because he's really, really passionate about youth development and just athletes in general. Like he worked with the highest level athletes and helps them either prevent injury or recover from injury, and he wanted that to be available to everyone. And not even just athletes, like people in their 40s and up who have previously been in sports or just really want to get back to like movement, because I feel like he always says like we're in just like a skill illiterate generation. You know, like not a lot of people know how to properly move, or they're not being taught at a young age because they're now, with the way that sports is, like especially college sports, like athletes are getting paid now. And so there's not a lot of emphasis on investing in your body.
No.
You know, like when you and I were in sports or in college, I feel like it was just kind of like beat yourself up, really, like do what you can, like don't stop, like of course take care of yourself.
I like will never forget, they were like, you need 4 pieces of toast for breakfast. I was like, carbs. I was like, no, I like gained 20 pounds because people were like forcing me to like eat this food, and I was like,
oh my gosh,
no.
yes.
So,
my first semester there, I don't know if you know this, Faith, but I gained 18 pounds of you know how you do the DEXA scans? My DEXA scan at the end of my first spring, I had gained 18 pounds of muscle.
That's just is crazy.
Yeah, which goes to show like how much I didn't have to begin with. But at the same time, like I remember being at Baylor like post college and then going into like the snack area and just like I think I was coaching a camp because I was at DBU at the time, so I was recruiting and I was at a Baylor camp, and I went in to get a snack and I like read the label of the back of a protein bar, and it had more sugar in it than it did protein. And I mean, like it's just not, there's just not enough education around what you need to do to like really prevent injury, especially for college athletes. But where it's really important, Mr. Johnston like really wants to impress that into high school athletes and young athletes, because now that there is so much opportunity in college sports, like I feel like, and it does start with the parents, like how much are you really pushing your kid to,
what are you providing for your kid? What are they consuming? What are they training? No,
and it's not to say like it's all in balance. It's not like you have to just be eating protein and like not be eating carbs. No. It's not like that. But it's not even just the nutrition. It's like, how are you taking care of your body? Like restoration is the biggest part of it. You know, in college, you have the ability to go into the ice bath after practice. They have, you know, the compression pants and all that stuff to take care of you. But when you're in high school, like, for volleyball, for example, you were playing 3 matches at a tournament on
concrete.
Yeah, on concrete. Like, not the best of the best.
No.
And so, I mean, you tore your ACL in high school.
Yeah.
So,
on like a fluke thing. And I truly think it's because I was coming back from an injury. Yeah. And I hadn't like been lifting and
And it's different for every program, but like in high school, a lot of Texas clubs now do have strength programs. And so I feel like it has gotten better, but in California, I did not touch a weight.
That's just
or
crazy
even train for volleyball until I got to college.
That's crazy.
And so I really do think that's kind of where the injury spout had started for me, is because I wasn't properly taught how to train those things. And then when I got to college, I was being taught, but I just wasn't. I mean, you got one coach and 20 girls in there. It's not like they're watching every rep. And so you start to fall into these habits that aren't healthy for you, but you're also gaining 20 pounds in your first semester because, you know, you're just
stressed and you're
being
eating
fed 3 meals a day, like you're sometimes 4.
Yeah.
And so it's just so different, and there just needs to be education around restoration when it comes to athletes, but there needs to be education when it comes to training skills properly at a young age, because that's where it starts. I mean, yours was a freak thing. You know, my ankle was a freak thing, I wouldn't say, but I do think that led to the knee injury.
Right.
You know, 2 years down the road, I'm over here, have things torn left and right, and it's probably because I only did rehab for 3 weeks with a torn ligament in my foot, and then I went back and played on it, and then I went home after that season, because that's like with volleyball, you have 2 weeks really. Christmas is like kind of your summer. Yeah. What am I doing at home to rehab that I'm not doing at Baylor? Because I don't have the resources.
No.
So it's not constant. And so my encouragement to college athletes, now that you have the ability, I mean, you have the resources within your schools for sure, but invest in your body. Like you have the ability financially now, but even if you don't, like, you need to protect your body. You need to.
No, you do. Yeah. It's like, especially if you want to go play at the next level, like after college, that your body is like what's going to provide for your family, you know, when you think about it from that sense. So it's interesting, but I think Aruka's doing a great job of that in education. And so I got to do a little bit of social media for y'all, which was so fun. And I'm just so thankful to kind of see like a new business model start up and just be a part. Obviously y'all are great people and we're good friends. So it was just cool to hang out with you and Clay for the time that I didn't get to meet Clay.
It's awesome. It's on a foundation of prayer. I feel like I can say that confidently. Mr. Johnston is a godly man. Not only does he have the experience, but he is someone that really cares about people. And so why would he like hold that to himself? You know, his heart is really to share it all and make it available for people. So that's
good. He's doing a great job. Well, everyone that gets to come on my podcast gets to answer the question. If you could write a letter to sports, what would you say?
That's a great question. Do you want me to look at the camera or?
No, you can look at me.
Okay. Yeah. Man, it would probably be a long letter, but I would say, for now, I would say, dear sports, you have been the most challenging thing in my life for me, but without you, I don't think that I would have the discipline or the characteristics that I do now. And more importantly, I think that those virtues allowed me to know Jesus more deeply. My relationship with Christ is only existed because of him, and he did use you as a vessel. And so thank you to sports for that. You were worth it.
Aw. Oh, that's so good. Bri, thanks so much for coming on today.
Of course.
This is so fun.
I'm sorry Clay couldn't be here.
No.
But hopefully he'll probably tell you a lot more stories when he's here.
I'll have to get him on. Don't worry. I'll get Clay by himself.
I'll come and I'll probably just laugh.
Yes. Oh, good.
But thank you.
Yes, of course.